Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Happy New Year. On this week's program, we get our annual outlook on the cattle industry with Randy Bloch, the CEO of CattleFax. He made his annual trek to Wichita recently and spoke to attendees at the Kansas Livestock Association meeting. We'll also have updates from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, along with a weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In an agricultural news brief from agview.net, first a correction. 2 weeks ago, we said the new KLA president, Phil Perry, was from Perry. In fact, he's actually from Oskaloosa. We apologize for that error. Well, the EPA has finalized new greenhouse gas emission standards for passenger cars and light trucks without including requirements that could have increased the use of ethanol. The standards were announced a few days ago and instead projected to promote the sale of electric vehicles. The standards apply to car models from 2023 through 2026 and will result in a 3 billion ton reduction in the amount of greenhouse gas emissions through 2050. EPA Administrator Michael Regan called the standards robust and rigorous. EPA estimates that sales of electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid vehicles will grow from about 7% of the market share in the 2023 model to about 17% by the 2026 models. The standards are also expected to reduce U.S. gasoline consumption by 4.6 billion gallons in 2027. That's a 3.7% reduction from usage of 2020. Lower gasoline consumption could translate into reduced demand for ethanol unless blending rates are increased, agencies say. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland calling for the Department of Justice to investigate the fertilizer industry. American farmers are raising concerns about the possible anti-competitive activity and market manipulation. Grassley says fertilizer is an essential input for farmers around the country, and without it, he said, crop yields and agricultural productivity would get significantly smaller. He said he's heard numerous concerns from his home state of Iowa and other member organizations concerned about fertilizer companies that they might be colluding and unfairly raising prices for their products. The industry has seen dramatic growth in prices. Nitrogen fertilizer, if you don't know, has doubled in price. Anhydrous rose up by 131%, urea by 110%, and potash up 120%. The DOJ should investigate the fertilizer markets, Grassley said, so farmers around the country can get assurances that there's no violation of U.S. antitrust law in the fertilizer industry. He said fertilizer tariffs are placing a huge financial burden on farmers. And the cleanup and rebuilding continues for those affected by the 4-county fires, along with those in Lane and Wichita counties. So if you would like to donate goods, services, or financially, go to KLA.org, KFB.org, or agriculture.ks.gov. That's the Kansas Department of Agriculture website to find more information. We'll be right back.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And joining us now is Randy Bloch, the CEO of CattleFax. Caught up with him at the KLA meeting in Wichita. Randy, always great to see you.
Thank you. Great to be here. Always enjoy this meeting. It's always got a lot of energy and good to see everybody gather.
Okay, so we're wrapping up the year looking at 2022. We look back at 2021. I think when you and I talked, a few months ago, this last quarter kind of played out the way we thought it would.
It really has. We expected we'd see a market make a push up in here closer to 140, and it's done that. Feeder cattle prices starting to get some push to them, calf prices moving, and we got more of that to come in here as we look down the road. So markets are getting cleaned up. We're getting more current. We've got more activity in them. So I think producers in the various segments should be optimistic as we go down into 2022.
Looking at optimism, who's going to win the optimism game? Is it going to be the livestock or the grain sector? Because we still see the prices of these inputs sky high.
Inputs are going to stay high. I don't see any way around that. With energy prices as strong as they are, inflation as elevated as it is. Again, we've got bottlenecks all the way through our systems out here. I think we've got a tiger by the tail with inflation here over the next 12 to 24 months. I would just say that would be my biggest worry and caution. I do not believe we're going to be able to control the magnitude of this inflation.
But where we are now with the levels in the feedlots, we're at a pretty good spot. How packers paying up. The margin continues to shrink at least a little bit, still pretty high, and the international markets are still very strong. And kind of the surprise as we look at 2021 was China, a bigger surprise maybe than what was expected.
China was really strong again in 21. Again, we saw them really come from nowhere from a beef market standpoint for the U.S. having access to that market. They weren't on the radar screen 5 years ago, and they'll be our second biggest market this year. So incredible. And we got to remember there's 300 million people in China with a middle class income, and they are learning the taste and quality of U.S. beef. They love grain-fed beef. And again, they've been willing to pay for it. So that's been the same in Japan. Again, Japan's still our number one beef market. Mexico is still a strong market for us. Hong Kong, South Korea, I believe, is the number 3 market this year. They've been very, very strong. So tremendous opportunities out there yet. Don't forget, world population's growing 75 to 80 million people a year. So that's more and more people to feed as we go down the road.
We're talking with Randy Bloch, the CEO of CattleFax. We're going to take a break, come back, and we're going to talk about the future. We always like to kind of pick his brain, look in that crystal ball and see where we might be looking, and also some of these other factors that could be playing into the trade. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn. For livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Randy Bloch, the CEO of CattleFax, is joining us. And Randy, it seems like I don't know how many years we've done this now. Always like I kind of pick your brain here, looking at that crystal ball, looking now into 2022. Some of the factors you discussed with KLA members. Put all those factors together. What's in store? Because there always could be the Black Swan event or some other event. But as you see things, what are we looking at starting next year?
Well, can always be these black swan events, and the reason they're called black swan is we can't forecast them. So I remind everybody is we're not expecting that we have any major shutdowns with new strains of COVID. That's one of the first big assumptions. But if you set that aside, what we basically are looking at is with elevated costs of doing business, higher feed cost, protein production in the U.S. is really moderated. It moderated in 2021, and it's going to moderate again in 2022. When I say moderate, it's not going up. Again, remember, historically, over the last 6-7 years, we've been increasing beef, pork, and poultry production between 2 and 2.5 billion pounds a year. It was flat this year. It's going to be flat next year. Beef will decline 2 pounds per capita. So that's why I'm more optimistic that prices are going to move that much more. Not at wholesale, not at retail. That's already been priced in. But as supply is tight, and you're going to see a bigger increase in those prices for producers coming back through. When you look at the other segments of the market, more of a flattening of the curve for pork producers. Again, pork production has been a little bit ebb and flow watching that African swine fever in China. And one week it looks like maybe they got it under control, the next week they don't. So that's been a major export market for U.S. pork going into that Chinese market. And that's obviously moderated this year, but pork exports are pretty flat. So again, there's a lot of positive things going on, but there's still a number of things that are pretty uncertain.
As we look domestically, as we don't know for sure what's going to happen with COVID, but we do know that the federal government's going to get out of maybe some of these payments to consumers. Those consumer dollars were going into things like some of the higher cuts proteins. Yeah. What are we looking at for inflation? The Fed's come out and said, well, it's going to be here a while. That could hurt the bottom line of consumers' ability to buy those products.
Well, I think that's the case. Again, you're going to see inflation rates in here at 5 and 6% as we're experiencing right now. You start thinking about that from a business standpoint and start seeing wage inflation 2, 3, 4 years. If you were to see something like that, that can really start to slow down an economic engine. So I would say that is something we really have to watch, because energy prices are going up. It's going to cost you more to put gasoline in your tanks, diesel in your tanks. We've got higher feed prices. We got higher fertilizer prices. So that's changing the farmer's idea on, hey, am I going to plant more corn or more soybeans? All of these things are things we've got to be paying close attention to.
All right, Randy, we'll always appreciate you. Thanks for coming back to Kansas, and
You
we'll
bet. My
look
pleasure.
forward to having these conversations again.
You bet. Thank you. Good luck to all of you out there, and hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and good luck in 2022.
All right, Randy Bloch, the CEO of CattleFax, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hi, I'm Greg Krisick with Kansas Corn, and today would like to share a little bit of information with you about a project working on E85 sales and promotion that Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska corn are cooperating with in California. California is where the most E85 is sold and used throughout all of the USA. And we have connected with a fuel company by the name of Pearson Fuels that currently supplies 250 stations in Southern California, basically from the Los Angeles area through south to San Diego and the border, and 250 stations, and are working with, and we hope to be working with, another 120 stations. These are relatively small franchised stations that are sometimes connected with large oil companies, but their owners, the franchisees, have the right to sell E85. And frequently in California, the E85 price is at least $1 less per gallon than their gasoline, since California has the highest gasoline prices in the United States. So we'll be working with them to facilitate getting another 120 stations. Each one of these stations tends to sell enough E85 to be the equivalent of 2,200 acres of corn grown here in our states, in Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. So it's a great market development opportunity where our ethanol plants, especially in the western Corn Belt, already supplied the fuel to California. Exciting times with E85 in California.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Quality testing results are in for this year's U.S. hard red winter wheat crop. Global customers will once again be able to purchase good quality wheat that provides high value, according to the 2021 Crop Quality Report by U.S. Wheat Associates. Each year, the organization gathers thousands of samples throughout harvest and at export locations to analyze for wheat, flour, and end product qualities. These results are compiled into an overall report for all 6 wheat classes and broken down into individualized reports by wheat class. The hard red winter wheat crop has generally good kernel characteristics with flour, dough, and bake attributes equal to or better than last year. The loaf volumes achieved indicate there is sufficient protein quality to make pan bread that easily exceeds the U.S. quality target for loaf volume, with dough mix times and stabilities that are slightly greater than the 5-year averages. U.S. Wheat will now take this information to overseas customers through an annual series of crop quality seminars. These seminars dive into grade factors, protein levels, flour extraction rates, dough stability, baking loaf volume, noodle color and texture, and more for all 6 U.S. wheat classes, and are tailored to focus on the needs and trends in each regional market. Kansas Wheat regularly participates in these programs to provide personalized information to each market and to receive feedback directly from customers. This informational exchange is important, as about half of the Kansas wheat crop is exported each year into a competitive world market, and these programs keep current and future customers informed on crop condition, quality, and trade flows.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Marita Hauser has dedicated years of service to Kansas Farm Bureau and has held many positions within the organization, including being elected Kansas Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee Chair at the 2011 KFB Annual Meeting and serving as the Midwest Region Representative on the American Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee.
Marita, thank you for your years of service to Farm Bureau. You have a heart for service, and it's evident in the years you've given to our organization. Besides being the women's chairman, you've also served your Grant County Farm Bureau very well, not only as a director, but holding offices of president, vice president, safety chair, women's committee chairman. And along the way, you were a member of the Class 5 Carl program. You've also been a member of our state resolutions committee and were elected as an outstanding young farmer woman in 1988. Plus, you and Tom were honored as Farm Family of the Year in 1995. We're going to miss your leadership, but please be kind to yourself and wish you and Tom the very best in your retirement. Success to the both of you.
During her tenure on AFBF's Women's Leadership Committee, Marita has seen participation in the Women's Communication Boot Camp increase, the establishment of the DC Fly-In, and helped lead the charge of raising $400,000 within 2 years for the donation to Ronald McDonald House Charities.
Marita, it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. Working alongside you, I have gained so much insight into not only you, but the people that you work with. Your love for people is admirable, and your love for agriculture is just as great. You are a true servant leader that actually puts herself into everything that she does. You are an all-in kind of girl, and I appreciate that about you. Working with you has shown me your compassionate side and how you're always in it for the best of someone else. I wish you all the best, and I am very thankful to have served on a team together with you.
When Marita isn't volunteering with Farm Bureau, you can find her serving her community as the director of the Grant County Chamber of Commerce, member of the Board of Directors for the Grant County Bank, and being communion minister in the Mary Queen of Peace Church. We wish Marita and her husband Tom continued success and know they are both looking forward to spending time with their 4 children and grandchildren.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
As 2021 draws to a close and a new year is on the horizon, the Kansas Beef Council would like to highlight the online Beef Checkoff funded Beef Quality Assurance Training Program. Training and certification is available at www.bqa.org for the convenience of producers whose certifications are expiring this year. Certifications expire every 3 years. Online beef quality assurance training modules are interactive and customized to meet the needs of each industry segment, including cow-calf, stocker, feed yard, dairy, and transportation for livestock haulers. Beef Quality Assurance is a nationally coordinated state-implemented program that provides U.S. beef producers guidelines and certification drawn from common sense husbandry techniques and accepted scientific knowledge on how to raise cattle under optimum management and environmental conditions. The program reflects a positive public image and instills consumer confidence in beef producers and the products they provide. When producers implement the best management practices of a beef quality assurance program, they assure their cattle are the best they can be. For those who prefer in-person training, the Kansas Beef Council is planning numerous for February and March of next year. Dates and training locations for in-person certification will be announced at a later date.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Happy New Year. I'm Mitch Dewar with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. 2021 was a year many will not forget. As we move into 2022, we will reflect on the past year and look into the future as we set goals and hope to improve on the previous year. Over the past year, we saw grain prices at record levels, which made for one of the most profitable years in some time. With a year of extreme volatility like this, it makes it difficult to feel like you have completely failed in your marketing plan. But do you feel like you did a great job? Maybe feel like you left some on the table, or you feel like you did a great job and curious what everyone else did. Wherever your emotions are, reviewing your previous year marketing plan and building the 2022 plan should make it to the top of the list. As we shift our focus to the 2022 plan, we continue to see multi-year highs, but with a catch: higher input prices. This is the big concern on everyone's mind and can make this year's marketing even more crucial. Every solid marketing plan has price targets and calendar dates. How you execute that plan will decide your outcome and overall satisfaction on the year. If you need help building a plan, looking for different tools to make your plan more flexible, or need help keeping on top of your plan, give us a call here at 888-452-8751. I'm Mitch Dewar with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Well, that's our show. Be social with us at KansasAgReport.net or our social media channels. 2022 is now here, so let's hope the spirit of family, friendship, and that can-do attitude stays with us throughout the year. Next week, our guest, Dr. Roger McCohen from the Washburn School of Law. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.